Anthony Edwards has set the NBA media world on fire with recent comments he's made about the 80s and 90s era of basketball, or Michael Jordan's era. This is nothing new for Edwards, who since coming into the league has made a lot of brash, arrogant statements in his short career. Luckily for him, up until now, he's been able to back it up, and it's been mostly lighthearted. Despite the NBA's media's obvious attempts to protect and put Anthony Edwards on a pedestal, unfortunately, this time he has taken it way too far, and it has drawn the ire and the anger of ex-NBA legends who rightfully so are extremely pissed off. Namely among them, Minnesota Timberwolves legend Kevin Garnett and the greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson. Let's explore. Cue my intro! Hello YouTube fam! It's your boy Big V! As we mentioned in our last video, we are in the midst of our very first giveaway. In order to sign up, all you have to do is visit us here on YouTube. We are giving away a $50 Wilson Evolution game ball. So this contest is still going on, and it is absolutely free to enter. More of the terms and conditions are in the description, but please enter our giveaway. You could win something great, and this is just the beginning. But now, back to the content. So let's unpack the absurd and blatantly disrespectful nature of Anthony Edwards' remark. I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it, but then proceeds to speak on it. They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. What? Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. So that's why when they saw Kobe Bryant, they were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill. Wow, man. Honestly, the nerve of this guy. Truly, I'm honestly gobsmacked and shocked by the level of arrogance it takes to make a statement like this. So first, imagine he says, I didn't watch it. So he's already said he doesn't know. But then proceeds to say, oh, they say that there was a lot of skill back then and it was tougher. Okay, so people who've actually watched it say it was tougher. Okay, but for you, Michael Jordan was the only one who had skill and everyone else didn't. And then when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my God. So what about the countless hours and hours and hours in the gym? What about the fact that both Jordan and Kobe were known to work harder and practice longer and wanted more than everybody else? Does that count for anything? Or it's just their talent or skill or whatever you're trying to quantify? So first of all, if you say something like Michael Jordan was the only one with skill in his era, then of course, the clear thing is you're discounting everyone in his era, which is bullshit. But you're also discounting the great one because you're saying, well, he didn't really have any challenges. It was easy for him. And now let's talk about the most stupid thing that might have ever been said by anyone ever. There was nobody else who had skill. So let's humor this absolute moron of a human. So in Michael Jordan's draft, he was not drafted number one. Even in his own draft, he was not number one. There was a guy, his name is Hakeem Olajuwon, who to this day is not only the most skilled center, but arguably maybe the only one who could challenge Shaq for being the greatest center ever. And guess what? When he played Shaq, albeit a young Shaq, he made him his daddy. To this day, there has never been a more skilled big man than Hakeem Olajuwon. If you can imagine, you were picked ahead of Jordan and nobody says anything. Let that sink in. He was picked ahead of Jordan and nobody says anything. So Hakeem Olajuwon, to begin. John Stockton, who MJ played twice. This man wasn't deeply skilled because, oh, he has 5,000 more assists then second place in NBA history? So is passing a skill? I just need to know. Is passing a skill? Karl Malone wasn't skilled? The guy who was on the receiving end of all those passes? Top 5 scoring player of all time? To this day? If everyone's so much more talented now or in recent past, how come there's still super old guys in the top 5 in scoring? How come Kareem is second? Yeah. Exactly. The arrogance to say you didn't watch and then still provide a condemning opinion. Disgusting. Honestly, it's pathetic. Oh, Charles Barkley didn't have any skill? A 6'5" power forward who could go coast to coast and shoot the ball and pass the ball and lift your team to wins? That guy? A guy who went to an NBA Finals? A guy who won an MVP? While Michael Jordan was in his prime? Hey, Anthony Edwards. Which of those things have you done? Oh yeah, none. And this is why I loved Magic Johnson's reaction. Perfect. And what's very confusing is the NBA media trying to make it seem like this isn't that big a deal. Like Shannon Sharpe being like, you're shocked that Magic responded in this way? What are you talking about? The guy who is the first and the loudest to back himself up and stand up for himself is shocked when someone else is being disrespected that they stand up for themselves? A little on the nose there, huh, Shannon? Honestly. And then other people too being like, oh, is this an overreaction? No, it's not. No, it's not. I thought Magic had the perfect response because that's the truth of it. So take the emotion out of it. Take Magic's emotion out of it. Take anyone's emotion out of it. The fact of the matter is, Anthony Edwards has not done enough in this league, in any league, in his time period. He has not done enough. He has just come off a playoffs where, yes, the Minnesota Timberwolves overachieved, but Anthony Edwards' flaws in his game were very much exposed. So right now, he is not in a place to be making these kind of comments, especially given that he's 22 years old and has not taken the time to actually watch and see. There were a lot of skilled players. And for Gilbert Arenas, the village idiot, to say this in defense of Anthony Edwards just makes you want to punch yourself in the face for the stupidity of the NBA media. Honestly, it's getting worse and worse by the day. Yes, Gilbert, but he didn't say, oh, there were 10 skilled players, there was 5% who were skilled and 95. No, he straight up said Michael Jordan was the only one. And then Kobe came along and everyone was like, whoa, what a terrible comment. Honestly, makes no sense. It's blatantly disrespectful. It's ignorant and it's just plain wrong. And even though I felt Kevin Garnett's reaction was a little bit counterproductive, I still understood and agreed with exactly where he was coming from.
If I'm being honest, bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played like 20 years ago.
Now, do I agree? I don't agree. I don't think that the era's argument is a good argument. In fact, I think it's one of the poorest arguments. However, if we dial it back a little and we look at it from the angle of in Michael Jordan's prime and then a little after, before the offense became a lot easier and physicality was a much bigger part of the game, it would have been harder for anyone in this era to score the way that they do now. And that's a fact. And in a game where better offense beats great defense every time, in an era where the offense is blossoming and everyone can score, it does look like there is much more talent. No one's saying that the skill level now isn't greater than it was 30 years ago or 40 years ago. But it's still not that long for us to be like, oh, it was like millennia ago. We've evolved to be that much bigger, stronger, faster. It's like, yes, of course, there is evolution. But the process of evolution is over 1,000 years. It's not going to be the astronomical difference that they're saying. And again, to bring it full circle, not only does this diminish everyone who played in that era and completely dismiss the obvious high skill level that there was, he thinks he's paying Michael Jordan and the late great Kobe a compliment by saying, oh, he was so much better than everyone. But you're not, because you're diminishing his accomplishments. You're diminishing Kobe by saying, oh, everyone was so shocked. Yes, everyone was so shocked because they were seeing the next Michael Jordan, someone who looked and acted and was the competitor that Michael Jordan was. It wasn't just like, oh, look at his skill. Kobe spent thousands of hours in the gym working on his footwork to perfect. Working with, oh, wait, Hakeem. Oh, look at that. Man, the disrespect. And I mean, Magic Johnson? Magic Johnson had no skill? I mean, if you've been paying attention to this screen here, you know that's factually incorrect. So what are we saying? So then Kareem had no skill? Because if we're going by this logic, so Kareem had no skill? The guy who was the leading point scorer in a game where the team who scores the most points wins the game. So he wasn't skilled? Disgusting. Anthony Edwards needs to humble himself up real quick, because no matter who you are, no matter what you are, in this world, it's who you know. And connections mean everything, especially in a small, nepotistic, incestuous league like the NBA. Hey, Ant, how about you focus on winning something before you can even put your opinion on players who have done much more than you and are much greater than you? Get off the microphone, Junior. Peace.